What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Finding Hope podcast. My name is Kayla Bundy. For this week's segment, I am not going to gatekeep what has been changing my life recently. I started doing it and I did it this morning. And it is this podcast, I'll include the link, but it's this other podcast that has biblical affirmations to speak over yourself. And guys, it has been so transformative and so healing for me that I feel like you would totally benefit and love it. And it's like right up this alley. So I'll put the link in somewhere, but you need to check it out. And that is this week's little recommendation. For this week's episode, I don't know about you guys, but I always am trying to make sure I'm taking more steps forward than I am backwards. And when it comes to consistency, I think we all probably know that that is what provides lasting results and getting us to where we want to go. So being able to be consistent and knowing how to be consistent and constantly moving forward and progressing forward is so essential to achieve the things we're chasing after. This past week, a friend and I were talking about how common it is for people to burn out or get stuck on a regular basis, and they need to find some form of relief. That could be as simple as waiting for the weekend to finally relax or let loose, or hooking up to find an escape and getting drunk or blackout, doing drugs. Literally could even be as simple as hitting a weed pen throughout the day. But the common thread in all of these examples that connects them together is the belief that suffering until you can do something that feels good in the moment will help you carry on until things get better. And what I mean by that is it's easy to look forward to things that provide an immediate boost in your mood or serotonin when you think that everything else you're doing is hard and not enjoyable. The problem with living a life that is waiting for the weekend, waiting for the party, waiting for the cheat day from the gym, is that it creates a mindset that views everything else as unenjoyable and just what you have to do to get where you want to go. Not that any of those things are bad, but when those are the only things that you view as good and joyous and pleasurable, and everything else you're doing in your day feels so mundane and feels necessary, and this have to sort of a weight on you, that's where burnout easily can creep in. Working the job that gets you the money, going to school that gets you the degree, working out, it gets you building muscles, and eating right gets you the body you want. But if we are looking at these things as a means of steps we have to take to get where we want to go, instead of steps that we get to take and are excited to take, we will most likely reach a point of burnout pretty frequently. Burnout typically occurs when we feel overwhelmed or overworked, or there isn't a sense of control, values aren't aligned, or we aren't enjoying the process. And when we reach burnout, it can look so different based on each person. Like I stated, burnout for you could be just looking forward to the weekend and hating your weekdays. Or it could be binge eating because your lifestyle is super restrictive and it isn't sustainable. So the first step to staying consistent and making sure we are always progressing more than we are decreasing, because let's be honest, friends, we all know that life has its ups and downs, and that's normal to expect. So it's normal to have a bad day at work, to eat food we aren't proud of, to call the ex that we know we shouldn't get back with. But what matters is that these actions aren't overpowering all the good ones that you're taking. So the number one goal is to make sure that all these little setbacks that we might have, that's normal and that's okay. But we want to always make sure that these setbacks don't hold more weight or aren't more transformative than all of the good steps and the positive growth that we're doing each and every day to get us moving forward. So my advice to you is to learn to love the process. Give yourself rewards and shift your mind to get to a perspective that is excited about each thing that you get to do along the way. For example, instead of looking at a salad and thinking another plate of vegetables that's gonna taste like grass that I don't want to eat, but I need to look the way I want, I think, wow, what an incredible gift that these foods I'm choosing to nourish my body with are full of flavor and nutrients to grow my mind, replenish my muscles, give me lasting energy, and leave me feeling sustained and filled. Just that difference of thought and having these thoughts around a step I know I want to take towards my goals in health and wellness to make the process so much more enjoyable and fulfilling, those little changes are game changing. The way that we are going to think about the things that we feel we need to do, and because if we're being honest, there's always going to be things that we have to do in our life that are not fun. They're unpleasant. They're not exactly what we would love to do. And for me, that like school, I hated school, absolutely hated school. And I wish I had a different mindset when I was going through it. And now the way I've trained my thoughts about things I'm learning has transformed the information I'm taking in and receiving, because beforehand I hated learning. I thought I hated it. I thought I hated reading. I thought I hated all these things because I had such a negative mindset and I associated it with school. And the second I was able to start being like, oh my gosh, I get to absorb these words. I get to grow from these words. I get to look at this page and be able to keep turning it and complete this thing. And I have the strength and the focus and capability to do that. Just those little shifts in the way that you're going to talk to yourself and think can really, really, really help you get to a place where you're not exhausted and you're feeling depleted. This brings me to my next point. Everyone talks about balance and how important it is, but I don't think balance is talked about in a way that creates an outline for you to take and fill out the pieces in between to customize it to your needs. I definitely do believe in balance, but I think in the way balance is talked about, it's almost in a way of like, if you're going to work out and eat right, then you still need to party and eat bad every now and then. Or if you're going to grow your mind and focus on your mental health, then it's okay to like watch these horrible shows that are going to take you steps back. And I'm not necessarily like agreeing with the you can have this, but then you also have to have this to kind of keep things in balance. I think it's so individualized, and what is going to work for you is so different than what is going to work for me. And I think we need to kind of stop looking at it in a sense of, if I'm doing these good things, I can do the bad things that feel good in the moment and just less than what I was. Because I think when we're telling ourselves like, oh, for me to keep doing what I'm doing, I have to be able to do the fun things that aren't good for me, but I enjoy them. And I think just that mindset isn't necessarily healthy, because it almost shifts the perspective of all the good things you're doing as viewing it as hard and unenjoyable and things that you shouldn't look forward to, and viewing the cheat days as those are the good ones and those are the ones to look forward to, versus there's so much with the positive steps you're taking in whatever you're doing to look forward to. And if you go on social media or you look up anything, almost every post is going to tell you what balance is supposed to be and how to live a balanced lifestyle. However, just like diets, what works for one person does not guarantee that it is going to work for you. There is a trial and error process for you to discover on your own, and your results will be personalized to you and no one else. So I'm here to hopefully give you an outline to start challenging your mind in the ways you think, so you can fill out the in-between spaces and have a method that keeps you on track and eliminates burnout. The first thing I want you to do is make a list of things you don't like that surround what you are working towards. For example, if you're working towards healthy communication in relationships, make a list of all the things you don't like that surrounds that. Maybe it's you don't like listening, you don't like feeling that you're taking on somebody else's problems, you don't like feeling pressure to talk about the way you feel. It could be anything like that. But just make a list of things that you're trying to do to advance in your life and things that are unpleasant around it. Now, with the example of the little salad analogy and how I chose to look at it, I want you to try to think about why or where there is joy related to the process. So like I stated, instead of looking at something and being miserable eating it or miserable working out, shift that and try to find, okay, well, where is there joy related to this? Next, reflect on the past 2 months and try to think of times where you felt burned out. And from there, try to think of what you could have done to prevent those moments. So for me, I've been feeling burnt out, not necessarily burnt out, but I've been feeling really frustrated, and I feel like I'm kind of stuck on this hamster wheel where I'm just going and going and going, and I'm not really getting anywhere I want to go, and I'm trying not to get frustrated, and I'm trying not to focus on results, but focus on just continuing to keep my head down and stay focused. And this has been something that's been brought to my mind recently. And looking at the past 2 months, I think it would have been really helpful for me to each week write down all the things I was proud of that I accomplished and write down how I felt about all those little things that I did that are steps taking me closer and closer to where I want to go. And so it would have been more helpful for me to not focus on the results that I'm trying to achieve, but if I'm focusing on how I feel and the little differences I'm making every step of the way, and I'm able to, at the end of each day or at the end of each week, feel proud of myself and excited moving into the next day instead of feeling like I'm never getting enough done. So that's just a small example, but me reflecting back on the last 2 months and feeling an ounce of burnout and then trying to think of what could I have done that would have prevented those moments. Now moving forward, I'm going to try to start implementing that into my life. And that actually goes along with the little segment today is I'm really trying to include affirmations because I've never really done affirmations. And I found a Christian one or biblical one that I really liked and resonated with. And so I'm trying to do those affirmations because that's also really helping me not have these burned out moments. The last step will require a little bit more time to perfect, but I want you to try out different methods of self-care that fit for you and your lifestyle. It could be as simple as giving yourself 1 day a week to journal about how much you miss your ex if you're trying to get over them, and instead of thinking about them every day and missing them every day, you tell yourself, okay, you know what? I'm going to give myself 1 day where I'm going to let myself feel all of this, and I'm going to journal all of this, and I'm going to compartmentalize. And that way, every other day, I can focus on other things going on in my life, and this isn't going to consume my mind. And it's going to continue to get me where I want to go, and it's going to continue to help me heal in a healthy way. Or it could be using a weekday as a rest day to help you maintain your work days and make them more productive. And I do this a lot, actually. I'll do like a Wednesday or a Thursday where I either won't go to the gym or I will go grab coffee with a friend because I know myself and I know, okay, sometimes I need just a break during the week for me to have way more productive days and to get way more things done when I know I don't have to live the same day Monday through Friday. But when I can have like a day in between that breaks it up for me, then it propels me to push through the week so much more. And then usually I end up working on the weekends because I feel like I've got such a balance of the ups and downs and a good amount of change throughout my days during the week that I'm actually motivated to continue to keep working on my goals during the weekends. And I don't feel like this exhausted burnout and like, oh, I finally get to relax, because I feel like I've planned out my days, or I know myself well enough to know, okay, you know what, if I'm feeling really drained today and like I don't think I can go to the gym, or I really don't want to have to film, or I'd rather just have a back end day, I'll listen to my body and I'll listen to my mind and I'll be like, okay, then I'm not going to try to force those things. I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to take the day to be so present in anything else I choose to do, and I can come back tomorrow or the next day and I know I'm going to get all these things done. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope this just created new thought patterns in your mind to help you think of ways that you can personally create a lifestyle for yourself that's always moving forward and always taking more and more steps in the direction you want and less steps back. And remember, it is so personalized, and what works for you is amazing, and that's all that matters. And so figure out what that is for yourself. And I cannot wait to see all the incredible things you guys are going to do along the way, and just keep moving forward, stay consistent. I know it can feel like a lot sometimes, but you got it. And I cannot wait to see where you guys are all going. Love you.